Oh my word, we have another Fabrizio Romano bomb tweet. This one surrounds the 2022 World Cup Young Player of the Tournament, Enzo Fernandez, and his potential 120 million euro transfer to Chelsea. We know that a lot of clubs have been circling this young man who had a standout World Cup tournament, a breakout player by every stretch of the imagination. Did not start the first group game for Argentina, but then came in the team and absolutely dominated and deservedly won that young player tournament, and is probably going to get a big move from Benfica. Multiple Premier League clubs have been circling him, but it seems Chelsea are leading the race and could potentially put up a big bid according to Fabrizio Romano. So let's talk about this transfer and let's talk about Chelsea as a whole, because they are a club that is splitting opinion and probably one of the trickier clubs to call in this Premier League. They've of course sacked Thomas Tuchel. That came off the back of course Abramovich leaving around this time last year because of the whole conflict that's happened in Ukraine and his Russian ties. And they brought in Todd Bowley, an American man who's got the wackiest ideas in football, talking about an all-star game like it's NBA or NFL, and he's now trying to take over one of the more successful clubs in recent history of the Premier League, Chelsea. So they're trying to throw money at the problem. And the player they've identified now is Enzo Fernandez, and he will not be cheap. 120 million euros, make no mistake about it. I know he was young player of the tournament. It is an overpay. This is not an 120 million pound footballer. Everyone can agree on that. He's a great player, young, box to box. Obviously fills a void in that Chelsea team with the aging Kante, Jorginho, Kovacic. Will Ruben Loftus-Cheek ever be the answer? I never believe so, to be honest. So he will definitely fill a void in that Chelsea team. But is throwing that much money at the problem worth it? I don't believe so. We've got a club, Chelsea, who notoriously, everyone knows it, they sack managers as soon as the wheels start to fall off the bus. A lot of people said, look, it's a good thing. They're ruthless. And the reason they are ruthless is probably feeds into them being so successful. They have a manager for 2-3 years. They get him a trophy, out the door, next manager in. But that doesn't really align with signing Graham Potter. He's a project manager. We've all seen what he's done at Brighton, arguably alongside Eddie Howe, the best English manager. So they've signed him for a project, yet they want instant results. It doesn't really correlate. I'm not the only one that thinks that. So now what they've tried to do then is they're trying to throw money at the problem. And we all know this does not work. They think it's career mode, just going to sign Nkunku, Cucurella, whoever. And now Enzo Fernandez, it seems, just money after money after money, signing player after player. You just have to phone up Nottingham Forest to know that just signing multiple players does not necessarily work. When a new manager comes in the door, like Graham Potter has done so, the number one thing you want to do is you want to implement your culture and your tactics. That's what you do. You want to do it on the current staff and the current players. You want to say, look, these are my rules. You do this, you do that, and we implement this. It takes a couple years, just as we've seen with Mikel Arteta, for example. It's not an overnight process. And then once you've got your culture in, you've got your style in, then you can start to plug in and play the players that you want to play. Let's not forget that this is the first transfer window that Graham Potter has. He, of course, inherited Tuchel's squad. He didn't come in before the summer transfer window. But we also know that Potter is not used to being a checkbook manager. This man at Brighton did what he could with downsized tools. Is he ready to be that manager that's got a massive checkbook at his disposal and can sign most of the players available on the market? We have to see, because it's easier said than done. Is he being pressured by the Chelsea board, by the owner, to sign these players in a way so that Chelsea brings some top talents in? Because I don't think Potter himself would really want to sign all these players. I mean, knowing the man, knowing the job he's done at Brighton, he'd rather work on the young talents he's got already available, the Ruben Loftus-Cheeks, the Mason Mount, for example, the Pulisic, and get them more sorted rather than try and just sign all these players from everywhere and anywhere. So they're trying to bring in this Enzo Fernandez guy to go into the centre mid void, and it's just puzzling me how they just managed to magic all this money. We're looking at his alternative options over Enzo Fernandez. He's got Manchester United. I think he would be brilliant there. I'll be completely honest. Him next to Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes in that midfield. Oh my days, that'd be absolutely ridiculous for Manchester United. Then they've got Eriksen, who can impact the game off the bench. Fred as well. McTominay can come in for the Europa League games. I think that he'd be a brilliant signing for Manchester United. Equally for Liverpool. Liverpool, we all know they've got an aging midfield. Thiago, Henderson. I covered their whole midfield when I spoke about Cody Gakpo coming to Liverpool on this channel. So that seems like the better options for Enzo Fernandez. Going to Chelsea for him, it seems like it'd be a poor move on his behalf as well. We know the player, of course, wants to come to the Premier League. What player doesn't? He's at Benfica right now. Benfica will get a massive sum of money for him. Good job to Benfica, by the way. They had Nunes that they've sold for a big amount of money. They've got the guy from Portugal that scored a hat-trick in the World Cup. What was his name? Ramos or something like that. He, of course, going to go for a lot of money in the window. It might not be this one, but it might be the summer transfer window instead. So they've got these top talents. The Portuguese league is doing well to generate these great talents of football. Now Enzo Fernandez. The discrepancy between Chelsea and Benfica comes with the price. He's got a 120 million euro release clause, and Benfica is saying, if you want the man, you pay the release clause. Chelsea do not want to pay that much. It's about time they started using their sense and not just throw money at it, because he's not worth that much. But they do promise to offer a big bid, according to Fabrizio Romano. So how much money exactly could prize away Enzo Fernandez? You let me know in the comment section. For me, I think he's around that 60 million mark. I think he's half of the evaluation. He's a great young player, and he did amazing in that World Cup. But could it just be a one tournament wonder? I know he's young, and I know that he's got so much potential, and he looked quality, but we've seen it before. Mario Götze, James Rodriguez had a breakout World Cup, and then their club career just dwindled a little bit. I don't necessarily see it with Enzo Fernandez, because I saw when he played amazing in those games. I do see a proper footballer in there, and a box-to-box player as well, which we all know is a valuable asset in this day and age. But he's still not the best young box-to-box midfielder. There's a man over in Borussia Dortmund called Jude Bellingham who plays the exact same position. He's younger than him, and for me is probably worth more than him. So if you're talking about 120 million for Enzo Fernandez, what does that do to Jude Bellingham's price? It probably makes that 150, 160 at least. We've spoken about how this transfer window has absolutely blown prices out of proportion, inflated them incredibly. We've already talked at length in the channel about Mudryk and how, of course, the Shakhtar Donetsk CEO is now saying, well, if Antony's going for 85, 100 and so is Jack Grealish, we believe Mudryk should go for that much as well. So we've seen in previous prices how that's now affecting how deals are going later down the line. If Chelsea do pay the release clause for Enzo Fernandez, good luck anyone trying to sign Jude Bellingham, because all Dortmund have to say is, look, this brother over here went for 120, we want more than that. We want way more than that, because Jude Bellingham is better than Enzo Fernandez and younger. So this January transfer window is absolutely kicked into style, and I'm delighted to see it. Normally January transfer windows are a bit cagey. No one's really trying to make that first move so soon, but we've seen Cody Gakpo to Liverpool, and it's not even January yet. So it's been burst into life. We now see Arsenal chasing Mudryk, João Felix on the market, Chelsea chasing Enzo Fernandez. We're looking at other deals involving Man United, Tottenham, and I'm sure Man City will also look at some players as well in terms of the big Premier League clubs. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below on Enzo Fernandez to Chelsea. Do you believe it should happen? Do you believe it will happen? Or would you rather the player go to another football club? I've been MyFootball. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you subscribe down below. My road to 2,000 subscribers, and I hope to see you all in my next video.